WWE Night of Champions 2025 match card and predictions. John Cena versus CM Punk one last time for the WWE Championship. Elsewhere on the show, we have got Jacob Fatu defending against Solo Sikoa, the United States Championship. The Intercontinental Championship is on the line for the men as well. Dirty Dominic Mysterio going against AJ Styles. And we'll be seeing who will be crowned Queen and King of the Ring 2025. Both winners will be getting championship matches at SummerSlam. And myself and Nick Steve are in the hot seat, and we're going to discuss everything for you for the next, period of time. We're not going to put a time limit on this one because this is going to be a championship edition here. Of course, the show is in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, which means the show takes place next Saturday. A decent time for me and you will be able to watch it, which is good to see as well. But Nick Steve, as always, first question I ask you is your excitement levels for Night of Champions?
In terms of a John Cena match, this is probably the one I'm most looking forward to. It's just a shame that it's at Night of Champions instead of Money in the Bank, but I think that the promo that Cena cut on Raw this week is kind of like the first time where I've sat there and really gone, do you know what? I really want Punk to beat him now. Spoiler alert, it probably won't bloody happen because, John Cena's on this whole run, but like I said, I think it's done what it's done. It's done what it needed to do to get me invested in it. So, do you know what I mean? I'm going to quietly say like a 7. Like I'm still thinking like there's going to be a story to come out of this and how it plays off and what it means for the rest of the year. Like it's the same with every time we talk about a John Cena match. It's going to be like, what are they going to do coming out of the pay-per-view going on towards the rest of the year?
Absolutely. Well, I don't even need to ask you what match you're most looking forward to because I share the same match as well. It is John Cena versus CM Punk. I think we'd be mad for it not to be. And good news to everyone watching, it is match number 1. We're diving into it straight away today, discussing all the highs, the lows, and of course, can CM Punk get the job done? And if not, how will John Cena retain? But my excitement levels, I'm on a similar level as you, but I'm going to go one number up. I'm going to go with an 8, just purely because I'm quite invested in the idea of a Jacob Fatu Solo Sikoa match. I'm interested in who's going to win King and Queen of the Ring. That's going to start shaping SummerSlam. It feels like business is starting to pick up in WWE, which is quite fun to see. And of course, Dirty Dominic Mysterio, well, he has that IC title defense, but the question is, how successful will he be now that Liv Morgan is not around for the time being? Will Finn Balor be, I don't know, trying to keep Dom happy in the Judgment Day, or is this where things start to fall apart? So there's lots of things we can dive into. I'm quite excited for what this show has to offer. But hey, our first comment has come flying in of the night from Pierre. Says, look, it's pipe bomb time. Don't worry, we'll be going there. Yeah, let's dive into it. But first off, we should say to everyone that's watching, please like the video, share it with a friend, subscribe as well. Get involved with your predictions and questions as well revolving Night of Champions, because we're happy to dive in and answer those for you here today. But hey, let's see how we fare then with match number 1.
Carry on talking. I'll be back in 2 seconds. But I just realised one of my lights gone out. I'll be back in a second.
No problem indeed. We'll take NXT Steve out just for the time being, and we will pop up on the screen in match number 1, which is John Cena versus CM Punk, just to go for a bit of details then for you with this one. In the meantime, obviously, CM Punk is the next challenger for John Cena after John Cena came out on Raw, and he pretty much said that he is going to do what he needs to do for the fan base to get the title back. And of course, John Cena said, well, you can have a match for me, but there is one condition to do so. And of course, that is involving you coming to Saudi Arabia, playing Saudi as the heels for the first time, obviously calling CM Punk a hypocrite as well if he was to do so. John Cena said he was on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling, in fact, all 4 spaces. I think we could be the judge of that with an episode in the future. But CM Punk said, well, how dare you, with the likes of Harley Race and, other great wrestlers there's been of the past, and John Cena would be nowhere near it in his opinion. In fact, what he was going to do is say that John Cena might be one of the wrestling goats, but so is CM Punk. He's going to spit roast him and feed him to the wrestling gods, which is one of my favorite lines I've heard CM Punk say for a while. But of course, you fast things forward. Johnson has explained a lot of his actions actually between now and obviously from the start of his heel turn, which actually put some logic in place. And this past week on SmackDown, he actually threw a pipe bomb of his own on CM Punk. Of course, just to give you a bit of a visual for those who haven't seen it, it's not quite exactly like 2011, but it weren't far from it. Nick Steve, your thoughts of John Cena versus CM Punk, obviously the match you said you're most looking forward to. Give us your thoughts with the build of this one.
I mean, look, it's John Cena on this whole crusade of being the last ever champion. So you kind of sit there and expect that. Look, I don't expect John Cena to lose this match, and you've got to do your utmost to just try and get bums in seats and get eyes on the prize. And I'll be honest with you, like I said, I think this is the best build that Cena's had to any of his matches so far in this run since WrestleMania. Like I said, it's the one time I've actually turned around and gone, do you know what? I want CM Punk to win this. Like, Cena's just pissed me off, and I really want to see someone take that title off of him. And like I said, just to build, and look, if you can do that, and if you can get me to that point where I'm like, do you know what? This guy just needs to lose that title now. Dude, I'm invested. You've done the job. I might be a very small few people that are probably drawn in by it, because again, this is a match we've done 15 years ago. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like some people are sitting there going, where's the appeal? Well, for the long-term fans, maybe, but for the new-term fans, this is something new they've never seen before. And you just add it to those two promo, like you said, you add it to the promo, you add it to that pipe bomb promo that Cena dropped, and even as you said, Punk's verbatim and his chew you up and spit you out and sort of wrestling gods verbatim. You know what I mean? It's just great stuff. And I think I have issues with the Cena promo, but I think it's one of the best ones of the year. It's up there. And like I said, if you know, if you were there 12 years ago when the original pipe bomb was dropped, there's so many niche points that he's taken. And this is where I think the old time fans have all been sort of sucked into this, because they're like, oh my God, he's gone verbatim. He's used the similar references. He's responded to his promo with the same promo, but with references that are, do you know what I mean? They mean something, because like you said, he's forced Punk to go to Saudi Arabia to have this match, which is something Punk said he was never going to do. So there's just a lot of mind games and manipulation about it, and I think that's really great. And like I said, for fresh fans, that pipe bomb promo might be the first time some people have ever heard of the pipe bomb promo, and they've then gone and had to look at CM Punk's one. It's just, I think it was just a well done and well prepped story, and like I said, it's got me hooked on it, and I think it's done that with a lot of people. So it's just going to be really good to see how this plays out, how they do the finish, and where the story between Cena and Punk goes for the rest of the year.
Absolutely, indeed. I mean, for me, I would agree this is John Cena's best story since coming back in and becoming champion. At this point, I'm invested. I think that a match with CM Punk, these two could arguably be their greatest ever rivals. You know, we've seen obviously Cena, Orton have had classic matches. People would say Edge as well, but CM Punk, there's always been magic when these two have shared a ring together or shared microphones as well, and it's been no exception here. Even if these two, perhaps like you say, perhaps more towards the end of their careers rather than at the start or in the prime. At this point, for me, CM Punk has done what he said he was going to do. He was going to make this interesting for John Cena, and for me, I'm proper into this. I like it. I think that we've had some good backwards and forwards with the two of them. I think the pipe bomb just shows a little bit of a throwback to what we said previously. And like you said, there's some key points that John Cena hits, for example, breaking the fourth wall, for example, waving at the crowd. I like the fact that Stu, the cameraman, finally got a mention since John Cena's return. Obviously, being heel and stuff, he's not usually referenced him, so we've got a little reference in there. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it's ticked a lot of boxes for me. It's actually the first time I sit there and think to myself as well that I'm really hyped for a WWE Championship match, because at this point, the John Cena, obviously Money in the Bank, John Cena didn't even defend the title. Randy Orton was fun for what it was, because you knew it was the last time they're facing one another, but traditionally, it's not always been my favorite matchup. This, for me, is where I know two guys usually create magic, and so far they've gone to do so. The question is how it's all going to play out on Saudi. John Cena's reactions recently have been quite mixed. Obviously, Grand Rapids were really cheering the pipe bomb of John Cena as well, so it kind of was almost counterproductive of heel and face, but it almost played into what was the perfect thing about 2011, because this is kind of what the story's been about. CM Punk has become John Cena. He's become PG Punk, where Cena has actually kind of become Punk, because he's the guy that wants to walk away with the championship like Punk did at Money in the Bank 2011. And now he's done a pipe bomb like move as well. It kind of feels like the Cena has begun that. And Cena has almost said he envies CM Punk because the crowd eats out the palm of his hand. He says he's the best of the world. People believe him. And John Cena can't stand it because he says the greatest of all time. So there are niggles in there, picks and bones and stuff, and it does make this one a real fascinating feud for me.
Yeah, it's just the idea that, like, for me, this match is really important in terms of the finish, because I don't know if Punk can recover from a loss from John Cena at this point. And you think that Punk went through all this years ago when they did Rock versus Cena, and Punk was the guy with the title, and they had to take the title off of him. So Punk's been through the John Cena stereotype booking of the mid 2010s or the early 2010s, and like, if he takes a clean loss here to Cena, I genuinely don't know how Punk is supposed to recover in terms of fanfare. Like, because there's a lot of these, like, there's you and me, we're diehard fans. And for me, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what does Punk do if he loses clean to Cena? I can't see it happening, because I'm like, how am I supposed to believe this guy going forward? Like, this gets into my point about the promos. Like, I think the original pipe bomb, for me, it borderlined on that breaking kayfabe reality where, like, look, this could be the most realist promo we've ever heard in pro wrestling. This could be, do you know what I mean? The best scripted promo ever. We don't really know. There's only a few people that really know how that promo was created. One is Punk, one is Vince McMahon, whatever. Do you know what I mean? We don't really know what it is. And it was and it had that real feel to it. And then you get to this Cena one, and for me, it cheapens the value of what Punk's one meant for people, because he's just copied verbatim of everything of what CM Punk said. And I'm sitting there, and John even says it in the promo. He goes, "Thanks for letting me rip off your promo, your 15-year-old promo," whatever he says. And it's exactly what he's done. And for me, he's just devalued what the original one stood for. And you add that to the fact that if he loses clean to Cena this week, I don't know what Punk's supposed to do going forward. Like, am I really supposed to think that the guy? Like, I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, how does Punk recover? How does he go on to be credible for between now and, say, like, for instance, if he is going to go on and headline main event WrestleMania with Seth Rollins, if this guy loses clean to Cena, this guy who's famously got the 5 moves of doom, I know it's scripted and I know it's obviously predetermined, right? But you sit there and think about the person who has to then carry on the persona. Like, if, for instance, say if Roman Reigns had beaten The Undertaker's streak, Undertaker has to live with the fact that Roman Reigns was the guy that broke his streak. But it wasn't. It was Brock Lesnar, which is kind of the right decision. It should have been that guy. And this is kind of along them same lines. It's like, this has to be booked in such a way that I don't like. I'm worried that people will drop off of Punk if he loses clean to Cena, and I don't want that. I want Punk to be one of the top guys. I think a clean loss just buries him.
So I got 2 responses for that. Number 1, I don't think the match ends clean. Regardless, the match is not going to end clean. But number 2 is that with the fanfare of SmackDown, you could argue that perhaps maybe he will turn for Punk because fans were cheering Cena and not Punk in this instance. I don't think it's going to happen everywhere, and I don't necessarily think it will happen, but perhaps it's something that could be teased along the line. But I think it's time to start getting into a prediction here, and I think that where I'm going to go with this is that one person's been mentioned along this feud who's not been involved with John Cena yet, and Cena mentioned him on SmackDown the other week, who was Seth Rollins, said that he's got money in the bank, but he's not going to cash in on me. I feel safe about that because Seth wants me to leave as champion. He wants me to walk away into the sunset because then when he wins the world title, he's the only world champion. it's his kingdom, so he will be happy for me to keep this and walk away. So for that reason, if CM Punk looks like he's going to win, you would imagine that Seth Rollins is going to come out and cost CM Punk. The question will be, is Seth tempted to cash in Money in the Bank? And I think there will be a moment in this match where Seth will consider, should this become a triple threat match? I don't think that's going to quite happen, but I think Seth is going to be the reason that Punk will lose, Cena will retain, he'll go on to the next thing, and probably Cena will say, look, I knew what I was doing when I mentioned Seth's name, because he can't resist and cannot bear to see Punk win the World Championship. He would stop at all costs. So that way, I made sure I name dropped him in there, and I knew that should something go wrong for me at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia, I knew that I was still walking out with that championship.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I expect it's going to be exactly the same way. I mean, look, Cena has just been on this run of hitting everyone with that title belt, and I ultimately believe that that will be the way that Cena retains this. Or, like you said, it's not even a case of Seth having to show up. Maybe it's just a case of Cena pays someone in the truck to run Seth's music, distracts Punk, distracts the ref. Cena hits him with the title or whatever, gets the roll up, whatever. Well, not even a roll. I hope it's not a roll up pin, but I imagine Cena will cheat to win, and Punk is going to end up copping that world title across the forehead at some point, whether it be during or after. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm going with Cena to retain. I've said it before that I think that whoever they have to know who's taking that title off of them, because they're going to be that guy going forward. As much as I'd love to see Punk win it, I just can't see it at the minute.
No, it's not the right time, and it's not the right title. I think if Punk wins, it should be the World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah. And like you said previously, it should be over Seth Rollins when he does so. But I do have one further question for you, because we both said it would be Seth if someone was to cost CM Punk the match. However, I just want to go into speculation station, because someone is not on TV. All right. At least let me build it up.
Oh, sorry. I was just throwing names out there. I didn't realize that was the one, but yeah, that was. I just thought, Drew McIntyre.
It was the one, yeah, because CM Punk cost Drew at every opportunity last year to win a world title. It would only make sense with Drew not being on TV currently that could be a way to bring him back in to stop Punk winning a title. And said, well, look, okay, yeah, I lost last year in Hell in a Cell, but do you think I'm still going to let you win a world title when you wouldn't let me win one? So I'm just saying, could that be an outside bet?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's the only thing I'm going to say about it is that Drew is kind of on the verge of being babyface. And I don't think they bring him back to cost Punk just to have him run as a heel again. Like they might do. I could be wrong. They could have him be this kind of weird tweener where he's still a bad. Well, no, I think if he cost Punk, he'll get some major heel heat. He'll go back to being full heel, because I think he was he was a tweener before. It is like a 3% chance that it is him, but more than likely it just will be Seth or someone from that group. Maybe even a new group member who is going to be joining them soon. Go on, I'll let you speculate a name there. Go on, who do you think?
Well, I see a PW Insider report this week of one or two names that could be featured in that one, and funnily enough, they're both
excited about. Another. Yeah, one of them I'm really excited about.
So which one are you really excited about?
Ethan Page, baby. Ethan Page. That guy is made for main roster. He can cut a promo. He carries himself well. I would love nothing more. And I think if you bring him into a group like Seth's, you put him as a Paul Heyman guy. At the point he's ready to go solo, he will be money.
I agree. I 100% agree. And do you know what? He's badass in a suit as well. So he'd fit the mold of what they're doing right now. So I'd be totally involved there. Ricky Saints is the other name for those that are wondering who it is.
He's a Cody guy. He's a Cody guy.
I kind of agree with you. But the thing is, though, Ricky Saints, I think, is better as a heel than a face. So at the same time, I think he would be good for that group. But I also think Ethan Page is a better fit, because right now you need a full guy in that group. Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker are two very strong guys. They shouldn't be losing matches. So whoever comes in as the next person should be okay with taking pinfalls.
You need an X-Pac. You
do, yeah. And I think Ethan Page could play that role well, because he's got the... don't want to say the word credibility because that's not fair on Ricky Saints, but I think that Ethan Page has a
he can
has a
take
bounce
losses
back
and it won't
ability.
affect him.
Exactly, bounce back ability. He almost benefits. He shines in defeat a lot of the time. Where I think Ricky Saints at this point, I think it would harm him in WWE a little bit. So yeah. Last question I have for you. You mentioned Drew McIntyre as a potential, could be someone that could turn babyface in the future. If that was to be the case, would you see him as a guy that could dethrone John Cena if Punk's not the guy?
I mean, dude, yeah, by all means. Like, look, this guy's been waiting for his moment to be the main guy. Why not, Drew, man? Look, he's been champion in front of a crowd for all of about 4.5 minutes. Why not, Drew? Look, if anything, Drew kind of makes the most perfect sense. He was this guy that was labeled as do you know what I mean? The chosen one, the guy that was going to lead this company. And then when he gets his time, we're in the middle of a pandemic. He holds this title in front of no one. And when he gets it again, he's a bad guy. Dude, I would not be. I couldn't. do you know? I like the sound of it. I could see it being a real possibility.
I have to wait and see as the timeline goes along. Obviously, right now, Cena and Drew on the same show. Drew was a heel when he left, but you never know when he comes back. So yeah, let's see what happens in the future. But we've gone for John Cena retain over CM Punk. That's our pick there. But it's time to see what our comments are saying. We've got some questions in from everybody as well. Just shouts, by the way, to Noob in the house, to Ray, who's got a question in Sid as well. Roy also. We've got Eric in the house. We've got Ovi as well from the Hard Hitting Wrestling show as well. And Paul Simon's in house also. So let's go with a couple of extra questions we've got in house then. Sid saying, what match are you least looking forward to? Obviously, we said that Punk and Cena's one we're most looking forward to. I think I would say Dom and AJ, but there's not a match that I'm not looking forward to on the show. It's just the fact that I think that there's the least going on with this one.
If you'd have asked me before Money in the Bank, I'd have said Fatu Solo. But now, with Solo's new character and Harry's been kind of like this complete piss taker, I think Solo's entertaining as anything, and I want to see how he gets on with Fatu. Otherwise, no, there's nothing really I don't want to see. I think these are all some solid matches. This is pretty much a solid card.
Absolutely, I'm into it completely. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video so far, hit that like button. Let's help the algorithms on YouTube for this video as well. We really do appreciate everyone's support. Roy asking, where do you think Jey Uso goes now he lost the title? Well, he might be winning King of the Ring, so you might have to stick around for a little while as we will talk about main event Jey Uso a little bit later in the stream. We'll get a bit more detail for you, so Roy, we will come back to that topic. Paul asking, do you think Tico will sell WWE eventually?
Look, it's going to take an awful lot of money for someone to buy them, but at the minute, that thing is, I think that's probably the only thing that's making money. Why would you want to sell the one thing that's making you money?
Well, I would agree with that. I mean, I don't think they will sell them in the time period, but I do think that they will do further down the line. But we'll take the hurdle when it comes. I would not be against Disney. There are other ones out there that
I don't know if they keep changing, if they keep rewriting, if they start writing WWE like they keep changing on the Marvel stuff, I might be against it.
There you are. Obi says, did you ever think about the last match for John Cena if it could be Austin Theory that would be the chosen one? Obviously, they have a lot of history together, Austin Theory, John Cena. Theory has said he would love to take on John Cena or be involved in the segment with him on his farewell tour. Of course, that was an interview with Chris Van Vliet about, I want to say 4 or 5 months ago. I'm just digging back into the archives there. I would be down for a match with Theory and Cena. The problem I've got right now is that Theory is stuck into a never-breaking cycle with Grayson Waller of the will they, won't they, when will they finally please break up, because they've been teasing it for about 18 months and they're not even making enough TV time on Raw at the moment. So that's my struggle with seeing it. But would I be all for it? Of course. I think Theory's got all the tools in there to be a future top star.
Grayson Waller can't get any further than backstage segments with the New Day, like leaving locker rooms in the back of other people's promos at the minute.
Absolutely. Of course, they both lost to Sheamus as well. That was kind of fun when they did that. And let's get into Ray's comments as well. Ray, the reason we left these till last, he says that Jacob Fatu has turned babyface, got a big pop from the fans. I'm a Jacob Fatu fan. All gas, no breaks. I can't do that with justice, so I'm not going to attempt it. And he would love to see Jacob Fatu lose the United States Championship and become World Heavyweight Champion. Well, now that you've mentioned that, I think that's a good time to move on to our next match. Jacob Fatu defending the United States Championship versus Solo Sikoa. Now, where do I need to start with these two? I mean, quite clearly, Solo Sikoa was the one that brought Jacob Fatu into WWE, of course, as part of the new bloodline. Trying to get Solo to take over WWE, was the head of the table, tribal chief for a little while until he lost the Ulafala back to Roman Reigns at the start of the year. And Solo kind of derailed after that. And of course, that was the beginning of the rise of Jacob Fatu. Of course, he's always been a shining light in the new bloodline. However, he would go on to win the United States Championship at WrestleMania. And let's be fair, a little bit of the old jealousy creeped into one Solo Sikoa, which, let's be honest, also has brought some great character work from Solo. The facials, the promos, they've been getting a lot better recently with Solo. The material is there for a very entertaining heel moving forward. However, Solo has been speaking a bit ill-willed backstage about Jacob Fatu to new bloodline member JC Mateo. A lot of new names I've got to keep up with here. It's not it's not Jeff Cobb like it should be. But anyway, JC Mateo, and basically said that he's not everything upstairs, which Jacob Fatu didn't like. Solo Sikoa had qualified for Money in the Bank. Jacob Fatu was the reason Solo didn't win Money in the Bank. Solo, of course, originally said, look, well, I don't want to fall out with the guy. I want him back in the bloodline because he kind of knows he's stronger with him than not. But of course, when he actually said, I want the I love you Solo line this past week, Jacob Fatu was having none of it and said pretty much, you've used me for the last year, and has pretty much said that, well, let's have a match for this championship. Solo and Jason Mateo put the beat down on Jacob Fatu. Jimmy Uso tried to get involved as well. Of course, we now have the match official here for Night of Champions. Quite a beefy topic, this one, but hey, I'm looking forward to this one. I'm quite excited with the prospect. Jacob Fatu has been awesome as a face. Solo Sikoa is really finding himself, I think, right now as a heel. This match should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, in terms of story-wise, I think I need a bit more context to why Jimmy is helping Jacob. Like, I don't know, maybe did Solo really burn bridges that badly that Jimmy's willing to help Jacob out? Possibly. Yeah, I mean, look, Jacob Fatu is a fantastic athlete, can do loads of great stuff in the ring, and Solo's new character change since Money in the Bank has just been entertaining as anything, and that I say this lightly, but that these guys should have some really good in-ring chemistry together. Famously, though, we've seen Jimmy and Jay have a not very good match at WrestleMania. So, do you know what I mean? I say it cautiously, but these two guys, they're big guys. This should be hard-hitting. This should be heavy. This should be destructive. I don't expect it to be the longest match in the world, but I expect it to, like I said, just be like, I really would have loved a stipulation to this, like a Falls Count Anywhere or something, just where they can, get out, use some tables, break the barricade, and just use the environment to their aid and just destroy the arena, these two.
They still can find a way to try and do some of that stuff, even amongst the North fan base. I mean, like you said, the barricades are usually a spot that tend to get broken a lot of the time anyway in WWE shows. But I get where you're coming from with this one, just to add a bit of a extra layer of spice to this one. But it's the first match between these two, and I'm going to predict it's not going to be the last, because I'm going to get in this nice and early, because I think JC Mateo might try and get involved in this match. I think Jimmy Uso is going to cancel him out. And Solo has said he's got no one else. I don't think that's true. I think we're going to get a debut on this show. And so, well, the guy's already debuted, technically, if you watch Main Event. But to all two of you out there, hi, thanks for watching. None of us have seen it. But Juan Hikuleo is signed with WWE.
Really?
I think he's going to come in. I think he's going to help Solo Sikoa beat Jacob Fatu and win the United States Championship. I think we're getting a new champion on this show.
Yeah, I was looking for a reason to pick Solo, and like you said, if Hikuleo's been on a Main Event or what, wow, where is that match, and why have I not seen that? I know they keep posting Karrion Kross's matches, which is criminal, but yeah, look, I would love it. The only problem is, though, and my biggest fear is that if Hikuleo is teaming up with JC and Solo, I really worry for Jey Uso, because I think him and Jimmy might team up with Jacob and we get that weird bloodline 6-man tag match, and then Jey is then out of the world title scene. He's back to doing tag team wrestling, and that, or do you know what I mean? I could be wrong, And, there obviously still is Tonga Tonga and Tonga Loa. So, they still factor in there somewhere. So maybe they can be involved somewhere. Who knows? But I can just see, I can see it now. It's going to be JC Mateo, Solo, Tamatonga, Tangaloa versus Roman, Jimmy J, and Jacob Fatu at War Games or something like that.
Wouldn't put it past it. Wouldn't put it past it. And I'm not against it either. I'm not against it. I think it's good that Solo has found a way to find warriors to keep him relevant and to keep him going. And I think he's done a lot of good work in WWE over the last 12 months or so. And he's been thrown in situations that I think the audience hasn't always been ready for. And I think that he has suffered a bit as a character because of it, but he's found his way back through. And I think that this year on this show could be his reward. He's the United States Championship. Jacob Fatu, I don't think will be harmed, because if there is a 3-on-1 or, the fact that Hikuleo is coming. Hikuleo is 7 feet tall, by the way, for those that have not seen him perform before. He's been in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's a big dude. Yeah, he's a big dude. So it's not as if like Jacob Fatu is going to be, losing to Solo via a cruiserweight. So I think that this should be protected all the way through, and I think it's going to be fun. But I think Jacob Fatu will win the title back, say maybe SummerSlam or maybe somewhere before. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that this almost needs to be done just to keep Jacob Fatu on his toes and make him realize that he's not indestructible, and he has to realize that by costing Solo, he's put himself in this position, and where he was a part of the numbers are now against him. So yeah, I would like to think that Solo wins this.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. Yeah. So 2 votes for Solo Sikoa to win against Jacob Fatu. Who would have thought it, eh? I think many would have predicted that from this stream here. Noob says, I believe that Jacob Fatu is retaining the US title. All breaks, no gas.
No gas. Yeah, I mean, I can't do it. Yeah, no, I can't do it. I can't roll my tongue, man. It's a gift you got to have, and I just don't have it, unfortunately.
I don't have it either, but I will try and work on it. I'll see if I can get better at it. Ray says, if JC Mateo gets involved, Jimmy Uso will also get involved. Noob is not sure where. Obviously, we've got Tamatonga and Tonga Loa right now. Both are injured, so that's where they are at this particular time. So, I don't expect they'll be present come this show. And a couple of different off topics as well. Ray saying Bailey has been awesome since she come back. This is the Bailey I want to see. Looking forward to Bailey. I don't think she's winning the IC title on Raw next week. However, I do think it will help set up a triple threat match for Evolution. Bailey, Lyra Valkyria, and of course the current champion Becky.
Agreed.
Sid says, it's all about Saturday night's main event, Goldberg title match for me. I'm a Goldberg fan and I want to see Goldberg win and get a title run. I am not against you wanting Goldberg to win, but I have to burst the bubble. There is not going to be a title run. If Goldberg wins that title, he will also be like John Cena and retiring with a championship. So, I'm going to give that prediction early. I think Gunther's retaining. I'm sorry, Sid. I don't want to burst your bubble.
That's the funniest thing I've heard all day.
Hey,
sorry, Sid. You're entitled to your opinion, but that is funny.
We're allowed to have Goldberg fans out there.
It's true. Look, dude, I'm a Goldberg fan, but it's Gunther. You're crazy. Yeah. Gunther don't lose. He only loses to Jey Uso at WrestleMania, apparently.
It's only WrestleMania matches. I think that's the thing. If you face Gunther at WrestleMania, it's the only time he seems to let the shoulders go down.
Can't handle big stadium pressure.
Absolutely. And before anyone says Crown Jewel, big pressure on that one again against Cody also.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll mention Cody later on in the stream. In the meantime, let's turn our attention to the Intercontinental Championship. Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Look at that glorious mustache there with the IC title. Going against AJ Styles for you there. Pretty much AJ Styles has been chasing the IC title. This has been what's going on for a few months. AJ even wanted the title when Bron Breakker was the champion. So we're going back some time here. We've played the Triple H long game to get AJ Styles a title match here. We've even changed champions. Dominic Mysterio has been defending against all different shapes when it comes to PLEs, but now he's gone for AJ Styles. So move over Pentagon, move over Octagon. It's simply AJ from Georgia. AJ Styles has beaten Finn Balor. He's beaten JD McDonough to get here. I think the most interesting question when it comes to this match actually is the fact that Liv Morgan is not going to be a factor, because Liv Morgan sadly picked up an injury last week on Raw. Looks like she could be out for 6 months. That's the reports going around, sadly. Wish her a very speedy recovery. It's come at a very bad time, you could argue, with Evolution being around the corner and the fact that Liv was just getting back into her stride again, you could argue. But what does this mean for Dominic Mysterio? Is Judgment Day going to have his back in the meantime, or is he going to be a bit lost without his being squeezed by his side? Is this a chance for Roxanne Perez to make a bit of a difference?
Yeah, it almost feels like that, doesn't it? It feels like this is the point where, like, if you want to go and turn a short-term story into a long-term story, Roxanne Perez almost has to be the one to help him retain. If not, I would have said Finn Balor, because ultimately I think Finn versus Dom for that IC title is the end goal. So it'll be one of Roxanne or Finn. Roxanne or Finn that helps Dom retain that early prediction there. But yeah, I think Dom retains this one. AJ is good for these spots because look, he's a great wrestler. I think if anything, he's going to help Dom elevate his level in ring, because his last match on, I think it was Money in the Bank against, I think it was Aerostar or Octagon Jr., I can't remember which one, wasn't the greatest match. And I think this match is just going to be a bit more credible and hopefully a little bit better and have a little more time, so we can see a decent title defense out of it. But yeah, ultimately, I think Dom retains.
Yeah, I think this is just to get Dom to establish him as like a very credible Intercontinental champion at this point. AJ's been there and done it many a times. So AJ's a great performer. He's near his end. Probably going to retire in the next couple of years. So, I mean, putting over someone like Dominic Mysterio, helping him get to that next level is not a bad thing here.
Dom is slowly on the rise to being top guy in WWE. Like, his rise in the last, like, we've watched it over the last 2 or 3 years. Like, when he was with Ray, and it was kind of like, yeah, you're just Rey Mysterio's son. But once he kicked them both in the balls at Clash at the Castle in Cardiff, he has just gone on leaps and bounds, and his character work has just developed like crazily. And I think it's like, more than anything, I want to see him step up his in-ring work now, because if you want to be that top guy nowadays, I think he's almost there with the character work, and I think the in-ring style now is the thing. And like you said, putting him in a match of AJ Styles is not a bad opponent for him to, do you know what I mean, beat and ultimately learn from and improve himself.
Absolutely, just to get to that next level. We had a great match with Penta at Backlash. I really enjoyed that dive through the ropes where he ended up landing a DDT on the floor to Penta. That was a really incredible spot. Shows Dom has got some tricks just like his father did, to being very innovative with his moveset. So I'm hoping something exciting will come here in this match as well. But yeah, both going for Dirty Dom to win here. AJ Styles clearly is just, he's that guy who's the established guy that's been at the top. He's not going to be harmed here by losing this match. He could still go for a world title match tomorrow, AJ Styles. It's just good for all the way round. But yeah, either Roxanne Perez or Finn Balor to be the difference maker. I will say that Roxanne Perez will be the one. Let's go to the comments. We've got 3 comments that come through. Ovi believes that Roxanne Perez will be the difference here on that one. So shout out to Ovi for that, for agreeing. Octagon Jr. was the opponent for Dominic Money in the Bank there from Noob. And also Noob believes that Dirty Dom will be retaining the IC title at Money in the Bank. And never forget that moment in Cardiff, because that's the moment where that led him to go to AEW. I'm guessing you talk about Edge at that point. They're getting that big kick in the balls. Adam Copeland doesn't wear a cup, so he thought he'd go to face Jon Moxley instead. Let's go and move on in the meantime. And from here, it's a bit more speculation station. We're not going to lie to you, because we don't have full matches confirmed. Usually we do these predictions
doing this early
in the week. We are doing this early because of the fact that, unfortunately, well, life is making us do this a little bit early. So let's start off then with Queen in the Ring. You can see the graphics there as pre-SmackDown. I can give you a little spoiler. Asuka is in the final, defeating Alexa Bliss. On Raw this upcoming week, we've got Jade Cargill versus Roxanne Perez. So first off, Steve, let's just dive into it. Who's going to meet Asuka in the final?
As much as it should be Jade Cargill, I'm going to say Roxanne Perez. I think if Dom's going to be there, it kind of makes sense that Perez makes this as well. It just, in general, geographically makes sense that Perez wins this. Plus, you've got that face-heel dynamic. Yeah, I can see it being a Perez-Asuka final.
Interesting. I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going Jade Cargill. I do think she'll be in the final. I think then it just, for me at this point, makes it a little bit less predictable who will be winning this match. So, and if Roxanne Perez is there helping, yes, okay, she could be there, a reason to be there because she has a match if she's in the final, but I don't think she'd be likely to get involved in the Dirty Dominant Mysterio match at that point because of the fact that she would have her attention elsewhere in the show. And if she's already had a match, she might be pretty beaten up. So I'm going to say that Roxanne will just be there, and I'll go with a Jade Oscar final.
Who was Queen of the Ring last year?
Nia Jax.
Oh, damn, I thought it was Liv Morgan. Why did I get that wrong? What did Liv win? Didn't Liv... Oh, she won the thingy, the
Crown Jewel Championship.
Damn it. Oh, my logic was that Roxanne would win it and then she would have done exactly the same as Liv. My logic doesn't work. Forget me. Ignore me. Apologies.
No worries. But are you still going with Perez then for the final, or does that change your tune?
I'm still going to go Perez for final. I'm still going to go with Perez to make the final. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. Like, I just think that Jade making that final, you almost have to have a screwy finish for Jade to lose it. Whereas I think if you have an Oscar Perez final, I think both of them could lose and both of them could win. So I think ultimately that's what I'm going to go with.
Makes sense. Well, let's go then with the prediction for Queen of the Ring, because there isn't really much you can say story-wise when it comes to these tournaments. I suppose I can ask, has it been a fun tournament so far? I think it has. But who ultimately then walks away with the crown and ultimately a championship match at SummerSlam?
I mean, I think Asuka kind of makes the most sense. Whether she picks Io or Tiffany Stratton, I don't know. But then again, I wouldn't be against seeing Roxanne Perez go up against Io Sky. I think both of them are really tasty matches. I am ultimately going to go with Asuka winning it overall, though. Just come back from injury. Triple H wants to put her on the pedestal that she should have been on all along. So I'm going to go with Asuka winning it.
I like it. I like it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Asuka, for me, has really impressed me since returning. They've done exactly what they've needed to do with Asuka on return. She's won a match that involves Stephanie Vaquer, which, let's be fair, I would argue she's probably one of the hottest streaks right now in WWE over the last sort of 6 months or so. So that instantly adds her to a higher pedestal. She's beat Alexa Bliss, who I don't think has been beaten to this point. I think that's the first person to beat Bliss since her return. So cleanly as well. So for that reason, that also helps Asuka on the route to the final. I would be very intrigued with an Asuka Io Sky match, or whoever is the champion at SummerSlam. It could very well be a Rhea Ripley. I would be totally down for any of the recipe that could be given. However, a part of me just can't ignore a bit of fantasy booking that I had previously, and that was that Jade Cargill would win Queen of the Ring, would have the championship match at SummerSlam, would then see ourselves with Bianca Belair beating Tiffany Stratton at Evolution 2 to win the Women's Championship, only for Naomi to cash in and cost Bianca. Bianca having herself then obviously that championship rematch clause, because they use it when they want to, and having a little bit of friction with Bianca and Jade as well, that we can turn this into a triple threat match at SummerSlam. There is the argument, though, in the meantime, you could just do Bianca versus Naomi. It's too early to add Jade into the mix. So then maybe Asuka makes more sense to win at this point. I'm not sure. I'm really torn. I think this is the hardest thing of the whole show to predict, if you're going to ask me. So I'm going to come to you one time before I stick my neck out and make a bet.
I'm going to see, the thing is with, I think, honestly, even though Asuka has come back and like is on this streak of like being the top star that she is, I can kind of feel what you're saying about Jade winning though, because it's almost like Jade needs it. Because let's be honest, Jade hasn't really done anything. She's been a tag team champion. She was taken out in terms of storyline. In terms of going forward, maybe Jade winning Queen of the Ring is the best move to make. It's not a title, but it's something that is prestigious. And look, Asuka's been a multi-time women's champion. She's been a Royal Rumble winner. She's been at WrestleMania. Jade being Queen of the Ring isn't the worst thing. Like I said, it's just one of those. It's like I said, it's just an accolade to add to your resume, really, more than anything. But in terms of maybe story and development, maybe Jade needs it more.
She may do indeed. Now I'm going to go to the comments already, because Noob has fascinated me with a couple of comments that have come in, and dare I say, could be a little bit persuading here, Noob. I believe that Jade Cargill is going to the finals. I get the feeling Naomi may cost Jade in the match against Asuka because obviously Naomi may not want to have Jade in around the championship picture when she has money in the bank because, well, she couldn't beat Jade previously. And also goes on to say, Asuka makes the most sense. Raw doesn't have any heels on the women's division, so maybe a Asuka heel turn on EO just to have a permanent end of Damage Control. And Damage Control, I think their end and feud at SummerSlam, I think, rather than debut. Oh, of course, they did debut at SummerSlam, but obviously Asuka was part of the group then. But yeah, you have something that has a definitive end to that group 3 years later. So that's some really compelling points there for Noob, and it's hard to argue with some of that. There is the part of me that thinks that, well, Asuka's been booked so well since coming back, and if she was to get the hat trick of beating Jade Cargill as well, oh, okay, is Jade Cargill done much? Maybe not, but at the same time, there's still name value there, which would help Asuka and push her towards being a credible threat to win a title again.
The other thing as well is you got to remember Jade ultimately did cost Naomi in Hell in a Cell at Chamber as well. So there is more plausible that Naomi could cost Jade in the final of this. It would be a bit of a crappy finish to a tournament that we get interference, but you can see the connections in terms of story for it.
It certainly is. The only thing I would say though is that so far then we have interferences in all of the matches. So I'm going to say that
hey, it's a Saudi show. Who cares, man?
I'm gonna say we don't get it in this one, and it's going to be clean. I really am torn. I can see it going either way, but I got to predict one, haven't I? My prediction before Queen of the Ring even started was Jade Cargill, so I'm going to stick with Jade Cargill. But a part of me feels that Asuka could be and perhaps would be the right decision. But Jade Cargill to win, and let's see if some fantasy booking can play out in front of us. Ovi has said that Jade Cargill is to win. Cargill, and then Naomi cashes in at SummerSlam. That would be the place for the cash in. Interesting.
That could be better. Yeah,
that could work. It would very much work indeed. Well, I'll tell you what then. Let's move on then to the men's King of the Ring, shall we? As we can see right there on the screen, it was Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton this past week on SmackDown, and spoiler alert, Randy Orton is in the final, which means we have got a, dare I say, mouth-watering clash of friends on Monday Night Raw. Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso. I really think that this is a fun match. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to say, though, I think Cody's winning.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I think that if Sammy had made it through to the final, I'd have been all Jay. But with Randy going through, it kind of has to be Cody, especially the fact that both Randy and Cody have lost to Cena. And there is a direction for these two, and they're both supposed to be going back for that WWE Championship. So, I don't know, maybe the dynamic of having Jay go through because Randy is after Cena and Jay is after Gunther, that could be interesting. But, yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, I think Cody wins this as well, and I think we get a Cody. Plus, getting... And as big as Jay is with the whole Yeet thing, Cody is arguably one of the biggest stars in the company, and you kind of want him on a card like this, especially because it's in Saudi Arabia.
How do you feel with the King of the Ring tournament in general? Because King of the Ring previously has been something of building that sort of upper mid card, easy for me to say, mid carder or upper mid carder to push them towards the top. We've seen over the years the likes of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, to name a few that have won King of the Ring, have gone on to superstardom afterwards. Nowadays, it seems to be the fact that because this title match is guaranteed at SummerSlam, the heavy hitters are just in it. So like you said, you can have two really credible top guys there in the final, whether it's, I mean, obviously, the former world champions, whoever's in the final, but Randy Orton's assert 14 times. Cody's a former world champion, so is Jey Uso. So what's your thoughts with that?
I mean, look, I think the whole idea of having Cody against Randy ultimately could lead to a heel turn for one of them, which is, I know what some people want, especially for Cody. And then, like I said, because they've both lost to Cena, there is an animosity there that they both kind of want to be the one to dethrone Cena. So, mate, like I said, it's just one of them things where like the story kind of makes sense. But Do you know what I mean? It's just a case of, like I said a minute ago, if Sammy had won it, I'd have said Jay because they both want Gunther. It's just a case of, I don't know, the story is bigger than what the tournament maybe means. Because, like, obviously, to go back to what you were saying a minute ago about, like, look, the King of the Ring was used to propel mid-carders to main event stardom, and yet the only real sort of mid-carder in the Final Four is Sammy, and he's not even really a mid-carder. The guy's main evented WrestleMania, so they are all main eventers. So there's it's like I said, the tournament doesn't really mean anything. Well, are we going to get a King Randy for the next year? Are we going to get a King Cody for the next year? I don't think so. I think if Jay had won it, possibly we'd have got a King Jey Uso for the next year. Would have been fantastic. But like I said, their whole thing is John Cena. And I think if you can drive a wedge between Randy and Cody going forward, I think it only just adds more intrigue to that Cena dynamic.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the thing is, we spoke about this on our Q&A earlier in the week, and I said, like, did SmackDown give it away the previous week when it was Orton and Cody in the ring together with Cena? They basically said they'd win King of the Ring to get there, and obviously Randy would go on to win his qualifying match, which featured LA Knight as well. So I felt from that moment that this was naturally going to be the final. And the thing is, I do feel that Cody and Jay, as special as this match is probably going to be on Monday Night Raw, I think it's going to be a really good match. I do feel like I kind of wish it was the match that was first in these, dare I say, these semi-finals, because it feels quite evident now. Like before, you said Cody was the favorite, but now I feel like certainly Cody is going to be winning this. But the question I have for you, go on.
I was just going to say we could be wrong, and Jay could win this whole tournament, and he could challenge Cena, and it could be Jay versus Cena at SummerSlam.
Could be. I mean, the thing is, Jay would really benefit from winning King of the Ring, especially the fact after winning the Royal Rumble this year, he's had a taste of a world title. It keeps him relevant in that top title picture. So certainly would make a lot of sense to do so. It's a no yeet from me. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Cody and Randy's the one that's going to be here. But some would
you do with Cody and Randy for SummerSlam then?
Well, no, because one of them's going to win King of the Ring, aren't they? So then that way,
well, that's if Jay won it for example, if Jay won King of the Ring and challenged Cena, is it Cena for SummerSlam? What do you do with Randy and Cody for SummerSlam then? If Jay was to win this, where does the booking go with those two? And as much as you want to get as many opponents in for John, like between now and December, I don't know. Maybe it'd just be a nice surprise for Jay to do it. But then ultimately, I think if Jay does win it, people will expect him to lose, and they ultimately want him to face Gunther. I don't know. Like maybe I don't know. I'm trying to throw like a curveball out there that would just, you know what I mean, might inspire an idea. But like, I think either way, if Jay wins this, I think fans will poo all over it anyway, because they're going to want Randy or Cody to win it.
I just think that John Cena's the big play at the minute, and I think that when you look at what's on the line here for SummerSlam, I don't think it's just a championship match. I think it's a main event of one of these two nights, and I think that the biggest thing possible to do is a Orton Cena or a Rhodes Cena 2. And the triple threat could be the way, but then I would argue
screw finish.
Another screw finish. You need to have a King of the Ring. I think this is the thing. I think I would have been all in for the triple threat match, but now you've booked it like this, you need a definitive winner. And just say, by the way, Tony's gone for Randy Orton to pick up the victory there. Also gone for Oscar as well. What was your second question? My second question I was going to get to was if it's a Cody versus Orton match in the King of the Ring final. I don't think it's how a lot of people pictured their match to be. A lot of people pictured it to be a SummerSlam, a WrestleMania for a championship, a heel turn. Is it a surprise that it's just the King of the Ring final, or is this something that could be what inspires a heel turn later down the line?
I think this is the beginning of what becomes a rivalry later down the line. I think this final here could be the starting point. Like, if you want to play off a heel turn later on, King of the Ring will be the thing that they go back to start it all.
Completely agree with you. And therefore, it leads me to the question to you. Who is walking away King of the Ring 2025?
I don't know. As much as I'd love to see a Cody heel turn, I just don't think it happens. So I think that Cody wins and Randy goes back to being heel Randy later on in the year.
I agree with you. Cody wins this. Cody beats Cena at Money in the Bank. That's the direction. That's where it's going, whether people want it or don't want it. And SummerSlam's at MetLife. It's in New Jersey. That place can hold 80,000 people. And I don't know how many tickets are being distributed. That place, though, can hold a lot of people. You need to get bums in seats. It's going to be expensive to go there. A match like Cody Cena 2 will bring people in, even if it is casuals rather than hardcores. It will bring people in. And yeah, I mean, Cody last time didn't pull the trigger at WrestleMania. You imagine that storyline is going to be presented to himself again in a rematch where he says he would take it this next time round. What would that necessarily mean? Does John Cena have a counter for that at SummerSlam? Or is this the place where they can perhaps effectively do a double turn or some description? Or is it the case that Randy Orton cost Cody Rhodes in the match? Could be something as simple as that.
Like I said, it's John Cena. He's probably got a trick up his sleeve somewhere along the line. Like I hate to say it, but The Rock is still a thing. Travis Scott is still a thing. So, there is always those two factors to take into it. I don't want to say it. It's almost like, do you know what I mean? Just putting a bad taste in my mouth. But they exist and it could still be a possibility going forward. So, yeah, you're right, man. The biggest business opportunity, like 2 nights, first ever SummerSlam. It's his first year. He's the first ever 2-night SummerSlam. So yeah, look, just get as many people in seats. Cody versus Cena, and again, because you don't know what night it's going to be on, and they don't do individual tickets, people will buy a ticket to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what goes on down the line. But we've both gone for Cody Rhodes to be your king of the ring. Let's see what the comments are saying before we wrap things up here today. Tony in-house saying they still have mileage with Orton and Rhodes. Cena versus everyone this year. Certainly, I think about 15 more options could be on the table. How many matches left in these last 6 months do you think John Cena has? 10? Less?
You've probably got to look what month we're in. We're in June, so you've got to have July, August, September, October, November, December. So there is 6 months left. There's probably, I would say, at least 10 pay-per-views between now and the end of the year. So a minimum of 10, I would have guessed. You're going to throw in there like a Saudi Arabia show in the middle of somewhere. I think the Australia show is possibly going to be in there somewhere. You've got possibly another Saturday night's main event that he'll be on. So I would say at a minimum 10, but I would like to see him. He still needs to have a final match on Raw and a final match on SmackDown as well. So 10 to 12, I would optimistically say.
Absolutely. I'm going to say 8 at the minute, but I think you make some good shouts with a Raw match, a SmackDown match, Saturday night's main event, PLEs. There is still mileage. John Cena is the only person to have competed on every PLE so far in 2025. Who would have thought it?
He'll probably be the only one by the end of the year as well.
I would think so, because it seems to be the draw at this particular time. Tony says, Oscar versus Sky is my SummerSlam sleeper. Would be great. It's a good shout indeed. It's a match certainly would be interested in seeing again. Also says, no yeet to Jey Uso winning King of the Ring. And also looks forward to more great promos from John Cena, which I'm sure we will get plenty of those between now.
Hey, man, I'm telling you now, our end of year awards, I've told you, I've just been working on my stuff all year. I have so many John Cena promos, and I'm my wrestler of the year is at the minute between 5 guys, and we've still got 6 months to go. It's insane.
It is insane. It's going to be a fun little race as we get there. We usually do half-year awards, but we'll see if we'll do that this year. But let us know in the comments at the end of the video if that's something you want to see. A quick bit of admin, a bit of a shame with this news, unfortunately. King of the Ring 1998 is not going to be able to be reviewed in the next week. Unfortunately, things have just kind of got in the way a little bit, stopped us from doing this on the timescale we wanted. Don't worry, it is going to come to the channel at a later date. That date is yet to be determined. At the earliest, I would say it would be after SummerSlam. It could be Hell in a Cell inspired, or it could be, if you really want it to be King of the Ring inspired, it could be next year. Just trying to stop myself from sneezing. So let us know where you want us to do it. But I think at the earliest stage right now, it would be after SummerSlam, because we have a lot of content to get through when it comes to next month. But any final words you want to say before we wrap up?
No, dude, by all means. There you go. He's just pulled himself because he's sneezing. Look, man, like I said, looking forward to the show. Unfortunately, I'm going to be at work, so I'm going to have to play catch up when I get home because even though it is on for a nice time, I can't take time off work for a Saudi show. That's just insane. But yeah, I'll watch it when I get home. It should be a good show. Yeah, I look forward to it, man. Like I said, there probably won't be a review for this one because of scheduling. Maybe. I don't know what your schedule's like, so maybe not. But it'd be something to talk about when we do the next Q&A otherwise.
I would say your best bet currently would be a short at the minute of a review if you're going to get it at a relevant time. But I think me and you will discuss it in length, certainly when we do our next Q&A for sure, because there'll be a lot to dive into when we get into SummerSlam season. That's all from us.
I tell you that. I can already see it now. There'll be so much to talk about, and we can't do a bloody review of it because it's just sod's law. That's what will happen.
Well, I think obviously we have Evolution, we have All In, we've got a lot coming up. Saturday night's main events, so do keep an eye on the channel because it's not just Night of Champions. We have got a lot of shows to keep up to date with over the next little period. So make sure to subscribe as well if you haven't already. Hit the notifications bell. Make sure to like the video as well. Help us out on YouTube. See if we can break through the algorithms nice and early with this one. And we thank you all for taking time off in your Sunday to tune in and join us for the show and share your picks as well. But enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for watching. Look after yourselves and each other and keep an eye out for more videos dropping in the week. We'll see you for the next one.